Bam, there we go. What's going on, peeps? It's your boy Glenn Lawrence, and I'm back with another episode of the Blerd Dad Podcast, a space where we like to have unfiltered conversations and nerd out about parenthood, fatherhood in general. And today we got an amazing guest, and I can't wait to get to him. It's Allan Sidley, and he's pretty awesome. We'll get to that first. Of course, as always, pay the bills. Gotta holler at my homies. They made me wear.it. If you have a nice little fur baby that needs an outfit, you got to talk to them. We just got off the Thanksgiving season. Let me tell you, they were great. They had everybody outfitted perfectly. I mean, and when I say everybody, I mean all the pets. And it was good because here's the thing. Your pets probably have clothing items that you've already gotten for them. They made me wear it can help update those clothing items by getting you something else, and they can fit your fatter fur babies in them because Thanksgiving, there's all the foods, they're getting the table scraps, they're probably a little bit chubbier, they're going to need new attire. You should holler at they made me wear.it. They will get them outfitted, whether it's a comfy jammies, Halloween costume, designer gown, whatever you need, they can get them outfitted. They do have plus sizes. That is something that they have worked on, making sure that no size is left out for your fur baby. So holler at them. And just remember, when you go to theymademewear.it, you are helping them contribute to Hope for Paws, which is an animal rescue organization that gets abandoned animals off the mean street. So we don't have any homeless animals. They'll be taken care of. They'll be given 3 hots and a cot, and all the good things that Hope for Paws does. So go ahead and check out theymademewear.it. Make sure you use code word blerd for 15% off at checkout. The life has been a little bit wild. Usually at the beginning of the episodes, I like to shout out things. And one thing I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start talking about your comments. When you send comments to me and when you email, I'm going to start reading those at the beginning of the show, maybe at the end of the show, because, you know, right now the guest is waiting and probably wouldn't get in and start talking or whatever. But I got to make sure I acknowledge the people who have been following us, who have been going strong. We're getting more followers. We're trying to hit milestones. We're trying to get to 1,000 on the different channels that we have, you know, Facebook and IG. So please like, follow, and share. But I'm going to start reading your comments, so you know that when you talk to me, you're going to get some information back. I think that is important to let it know it's a two-way street. There's so much more to talk about, but I'm going to get into it with our next guest. I mean, get into it as in get into things that we need to talk about, not a fight, because I love this guy. We're not going to argue. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But our next guest is Allan Sidley. He's a comedian, author, and a hip-hop improviser, as well as a producer. He's really the jack of all trades. I did not know he was a hip-hop improviser. We might have some bars for you later. Stay tuned. His humor is dry and a little wet from perspiration, usually. He's raised by a single neurotic Jewish mother. He got his comedy start in an early age by riffing on her issues, which everybody knows that goes very well at the dinner table. He likes to make light of others' misery, and it became a very natural thing to him, and that sparked his comedy career over the last 10 years. He's performed at festivals, colleges, clubs across the country. He opened for Keegan Michael Key and Sam Richardson. I'm shocked. That's a big feat. Those are 2 of my favorite comedians, like comedic actors. Those guys are incredible. Wow. I get some good guests on here. This is, sometimes I read these bios and I got to take a moment to be like, man, I'm actually talking to this person. I'm flabbergasted. He's also been on TV. He's on TLC. He's on Fox 5, FPA, the FUPA network. I don't know what that is, but it's interesting. I might have to Google it later. And even without a dad, he's mastered the dad jokes. He has a book out. It's called Daddy Issues. It was #1 on Amazon when it was released. He also did a stand-up comedy special of the same name, Daddy Issues. Went viral on YouTube. It's got a ton of views on TikTok. And he was listed in Forbes as an impact leader for the American Heart Association. So he has your heart in mind when he's giving you these laughs, which I think is most important. Raised a ton of money for these organizations, and now he's here to speak with us. That was a very, very long intro, but I think he's well deserved of it. Please welcome to the stage, y'all, my friend Allan Sidley. What's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Glenn? You know, I was coming here ready to fight you, but your intro was so nice that
Was it?
be kind and get along with you.
I always try to think like, is this bio? Am I reading this bio correctly? Like, have you
It's
done all these?
awkward,
Are
man.
you a hip hop improviser? Is that a true?
Yeah. I mean, so I do a couple improv things, but that just sounds the coolest, and
Yeah.
it got your attention. So like, instead of telling people I do improv or short form now, I just say I do hip hop improv, which is something I used to do. And we do it once in a while now.
Well, you know what? You know why it got my attention is because in high school I used to freestyle. We used to have freestyle battles in high school, and this is before it became like a big thing and it blew up
for that. But I would have been so about that,
What, the hip hop battles?
Yeah, I would have been about that, but like we struggled with minority numbers in my area.
Well, I mean, see, here's the thing: you could have had the first like all white battle rap group in high school. That would have been.
It didn't come to me much later. Honestly, I didn't start freestyling until I befriended someone, and we used to do it all the time. And that wasn't until my 20s. I'm a late bloomer in that respect.
So we used to do it in high school, right? And now, in my teens, and it's funny because in high school you're following rules and everything, and teachers are like, be good, don't curse. And I write my rap just however I write them with curse words in there. And so I'll be reading them, and then the teachers are there looking at it like, looking at us battle rap. And I think they're there.
You're reading your freestyle, Glenn? Huh? This sounds like a written to me. You said you're reading?
Well, I mean, freestyling is, I think it's the style of writing. It's not necessarily going off the top of the head all the time.
Off the top of the dome.
I feel like that is the most respected form of freestyle. But I mean, if you watch battle rap, a lot of that stuff is not like off the top of the dome or whatever. You know what I mean?
By someone else too.
But But it was funny because I would, have and then I'm reading them or recite them, and then I get to like a curse word, and the teachers are sitting there, and I think they're trying to like sit there and get us in trouble. But I'm like, I don't think and they're like, no, shut up, say it, go. Like they were like egging us on, like, nah, talk about that bitch. I was like, okay, all right. It was where I really learned. I really started to understand teachers are people too. They just want the entertainment just as pure as we've created it.
Teachers are people too. Yes, they are.
They are people too. Yeah, man. That was good. That takes me back, dude. As a matter of fact, I'm going to talk to one of my friends who happened to be one of the battle rappers that I used to rap with back in high school. And he continued on doing it. I think the story he tells is I roasted him so bad that he was like, I got to get better. And so he just like took that and it catapulted him into his battle rap career later in life.
And that guy's name, Marshall Mathers.
So true. It's so true. They used to call him B Rabbit, and and I roasted him, and he finally made some of them of himself. But anyways, man, yeah, dude, we got to get into it. You, like me, are a pandemic father. You did you had the trifecta, which I like to say is baby, marriage, as well as a comedy special during the pandemic. That's the. Yeah. So you did all three. What was that all about, man? How was that?
Well, let's start with the comedy special. Just because we'll get into family later, but that was wild because I was going crazy like everyone else during the pandemic, and I hadn't really gotten into enjoying creating content on social media, or even when I did Zoom shows, man, and they would go pretty well. I just like it didn't hit, it didn't feel good,
Mm-hmm.
So at some point I was just going crazy, and I had written the book. That was like my, pandemic. That was my first pandemic baby, was the book. And I was like, what if we, just tried to kind of throw it all together? I'll do a special. I'll do some jokes from the book. And I hadn't performed for like 16 months, and I did like about an hour, and it was awesome, man. I just like, that was one of the few times where I just super enjoyed myself on stage. And obviously going into it was so nerve-wracking because my style of comedy, an hour is like 6 billion jokes. So memorizing all that shit took a lot. But I was happy to do it. And then it got some views, which I really didn't expect, and led to nothing. So that's why I'm here. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, this is something. I feel like this is the door. The doorway to, you got to believe it, you know what I mean, to achieve it. So
yes.
It's funny that you say that it is your baby, the whole special thing, because I did one during that time period too, and also did not performed for a while, and I feel like every time I look back and I'm like, like that is not peak performance.
I don't say that joke that way anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's the hardest thing. It's kind of weird. You can't put like a disclaimer on the front of your special that be like, this is like, these are all the issues I was dealing with while doing this special. Like, because at the end of mine, I don't know if you've watched it all the way through, but at the end of it, there was a proposal, so I'm also proposing at the end of the special, which is an added layer of complexity. Plus it was self-produced, so everything there, like I did myself, like all the camera angles, all the sound, so I set all of that up, and I'm about to propose at the end of it, and I hadn't performed in like 6 months. So I'm like, come on, degree of difficulty, you got to give me some credit on, but I don't feel like anyone's giving extra credit.
She said no, which sucked.
Right. And then I got her pregnant, and then she had to turn around and agree. What was the whole birthing process for you guys during the pandemic? Was that cool? Did you like it? Was it fun?
I think the timeline might be a little mixed up. I think I had a post-pandemic baby, actually, because she was born last year.
Yeah, but they didn't declare the pandemic over until what, like a few months ago. So
yeah, no, that's actually true. We're still living in the new normal when it comes to doctors and whatnot. I mean, birth was pretty easy for me. I didn't have to do all that much. But here's where they get you, Glenn, is they want the partner to suffer as much as possible. So they have the like least comfiest couch for you to sleep on that's ever been invented. I don't know what you slept on if you did it at a hospital, but I was basically on like an inflatable raft that had 2 cushions. Couldn't fit my 6'2" frame on a good day, Yeah. And that was tough for me. Almost as tough as pushing out a baby. But
it's close. It's a close second. I could for sure see the difficulty in it, So like they don't actually talk about our pain during the birthing process. I feel like that's an underappreciated. Like, where are we going to sleep while you're trying to push out this baby? Where can we rest while you're doing the most strenuous thing you've ever done in your life? Where can we rest? That's
exactly. But yeah, I mean, everything went well. Took a baby home at the end of it, and it was, I mean, the beginning, it's like pretty wild. I think the baby, like those first couple weeks, they're just basically like furniture with bodily functions. You just put them there, and they don't move.
Yeah.
And then they cry, and then they poop, and then that's it. And you're just like, is this what it is? And then it kind of just like changes every few weeks to few months to now she's 11 months old, and she's walking all over the place. She's saying she's got the mama, dada, and cat down pretty well.
Right.
But yeah, it's just like she went from, I don't know if you guys had like one of those toy walkers that are popular, but it's like she went from, doing that once in a while to like all of a sudden she's just like, it's like she's playing Gran Turismo. She's like weaving in and out, dodging all the stuff. And then she went from like walking, straight a couple steps to like now she's doing turns. And it's nuts, man. It's like
they grow so fast. Now for us, it was different because I got to sleep on my own couch at home like that, like, because we did a home birth, which I got to tell you, it's kind of the way to go, dude. You're at home, you're in the comfort of your own home, and
but haven't you seen enough like medical dramas to worry something's going to go horribly wrong?
No. I mean, think about it like this. If you're in the US, right, 90-something% of the births are in the hospital, right? And if you are in another country, like it's kind of the opposite. Like a lot of those births aren't in the country. And last time I looked, rural China, they're still populating, like rural India, like rural Africa, rural Australia, like all these different places that aren't industrialized, they're having babies just fine. And that's like kind of like a misconception that you have to be in the hospital because you're having a baby, but a baby, like hospitals are for medical emergencies, really, you know what I mean? And having a baby is kind of like a routine part of life. So if you're having an emergency or you're having something abnormal, then it's like the hospital is a place to go because you have everything. But just in normal course of life, people have babies all over the place. That's just been my life with it. But
Yeah, we talked about it, and I mean, if you think back to like, indigenous people, the woman would just walk off and then have a baby and come back with the baby and birth it while like standing up.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, we're designed to be out in nature and have babies out in nature. We're just like, animals and everything. And when you think about it, being in the hospital with a baby is probably I don't know, maybe 100-year-old thing, 150-year-old thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that has been the norm for longer than that. But since it's as long as we've been alive, it feels like it's the only thing. But it's actually an abnormality in the course of human history to be born in like these places. And I think if you like were an alien and you came back and you saw like the world or whatever, and you're like, why do they go to these like sterilization centers to birth their offspring? Like, that's just odd. But it is interesting when I did it at home, because I feel like in the hospital you get, I don't know about, you can tell me, you get a sense of you've had this baby, now take it, and here you are cleared to be a parent and all this other. When you have it at home, it's just like okay, it was just it's just like we I don't know, like cooked a turkey and then all right, it's ready, and then you serve it. It's like, okay, not it's just kind of weird how it's just done, and then you just have it, and then basically for the next, I don't know, month or so, you're like just trying to keep it alive, like make sure that it poops, doesn't doesn't get infected from the poop, make sure that it eats, and then you just realize like, oh, that's the rest of my life, I'm just going to be making sure this thing stays alive.
Yep. Yeah,
So,
and just like, not only does it stay alive, but every day or week, new dangers are accessible to this.
yeah, and I don't, our girl, because you have a girl, right?
Yeah.
Are girls different? Because boys, I feel like they find the most dangerous thing in the room, no matter what's in the room. They find the most dangerous thing and then go towards that. I don't know, but I've heard girls are different.
I think she's probably too young to have these gender differences,
No,
But
this was within months.
She'll
Within
definitely
months, Alan, I'm trying to tell you, he was going for scissors. He was going for whatever is like when he could actually move or reach out, it was always to what was dangerous, and it was like immediate. It wasn't like, oh, he's come online and now it's like, no, he would crawl. Like, he's like, oh, there's a ledge, let me crawl towards it. Or
no, I was thinking stuff like that, like, oh, we're on the couch, let me dive bomb off the couch into the corner of the coffee table. This is really what I want to do, Dad. And me being like, no, Sonny, don't kill yourself.
Yeah. or maim yourself. But I don't know, girls, I've heard that they are different in their in just like their daredevil nature, and
Okay. Well, I'll keep you posted. We'll see if that calms down. But right now, she seems like just ready to go and daredevil and has no fear. So
that's good. The no fear thing, I think, is kind of awesome. I'm happy that it's that and not super timid or scared of everything and crying. It's a little bit aggressive, in terms of how little fear he has. But
how old is he now?
Huh?
How old is he now?
He's like 2.5.
Okay, cool.
So he's still, I guess by scientific definition, he's still infantile. He's still like an infant, but he's very like mature for his age, I would say. Nice. Like, now he tells us like things that he wants and like what he needs, and now he started learning possessive. So he's like, mine, this is mine, this is mine. Which I'm like, all right, you're a little bit too young to start telling me what is yours and what is not.
Right. You're like, actually, all of this is mine. So let's get that straight first.
That's great. Yeah. And then he like looks up at me and is just like, mine, like the little seagulls from that cartoon. Mine. But it's fun. It's great, man. It's a cool thing. Have you been reading any of your dad jokes to her from the book?
Maybe a few times early on. I feel like that was something I was jumping into. She did like one time grab it though. And I have like the best promotional photo that I wish I had at the time of the release of her just like holding it out perfectly, looking cute, smiling. But I some of them she's got to be a little older, Glenn.
You know what? Second edition.
And I don't know how I feel about reading her something that puts her to sleep that I wrote,
That's what
I think
that's
that would
the
make
whole
me feel
thing.
bad.
You need more. Have you been getting any sleep?
Oh yeah, dude, I sleep like a champ, man.
Does your wife like that? Is she?
I mean, she's the baby sleeps through the night now, so we're
Oh,
pretty good. I mean, yeah, I could probably get up a couple more times in the morning a week to, take that first shift, but I don't know. Things are pretty good, and we just got a new coffee maker, so we're like we're good to go. This makes some strong coffee. Like I'm still flying high from 7 this morning.
nice. Do you check in with the wife? Like, hey, is everything all right? Because from having the kid, I realized that moms do a lot, and as a
Oh, yeah,
dad, I
she does
just
everything, and I
yeah
do nothing.
yeah
So. But last night I both cooked and cleaned, which usually it's like a one or the other. The other person does it. So,
right.
I was like, all right, let me and cooked and cleaned for all three of us. So that
How'd
was
it go? What did it
it
taste
was
like?
great. I mean, it was just Impossible Burgers night. So I was just like frying stuff up and then doing fries. And then Sonny, I made some like pasta and sauce, which is always very fun because then she's just covered in sauce afterwards.
The messiest foods are usually their favorites.
She's the noises she like makes and just like nah, and just being like, this is my favorite. And that's just sweet. It's just like, man, if I didn't, because like obviously, my wife's probably doing a little more, so I don't feed the baby as much. And then I feed her. I'm like, wow, this is like actually super enjoyable and wholesome. So,
Yeah, yeah, especially when they're that age. Feeding does not get it doesn't get as wholesome over time. It
yeah.
gets a little bit more stressful as they get older. But at that age where you're kind of just like holding them and feeding them, it's like such a kind of beautiful moment. I don't know. Women may have a different experience because sometimes they're like breastfeeding or whatever, and it's difficult, and they're doing it all the time. Like you know what's crazy? As a father, like I know that the baby needs to eat, and I feed it when necessary. But the amount of times where I would like not remember to like feed you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's a normal dad thing to be like, oh yeah, I should probably like put some food in them. I don't know. I don't know
So
about you.
my question is that how you also view it yourself? Do you just like randomly forget to eat?
Yeah, exactly.
So
100%.
that's what it is. See, I don't. Meals are like, unless I'm really in the zone on something, I'm taking that break, Glenn. I earned it.
You're like, gotta eat, gotta eat. No, because I'm kind of like catch as catch can. Like, oh yeah, I'm hungry. Let me go and I'll make something now. And then so if I'm making something, then I'll be like, oh, I'll feed the baby. But a lot of times I'll be doing something, and I could go for a while without like eating, fasting.
Yeah.
So like I won't feed the baby. But it's amazing how simple it is to keep them from crying when they're young. It's like, oh, you feed them, and you either put something in them or take something out, and then they're happy. That's it.
Except when that doesn't do anything, and you're just like, oh no, I've got a broken baby.
Yeah, it's like what is going on here, and then you hand it back to mom. But it was a very eye opening experience to be like, oh, you know, like how much my wife was doing with the baby. I was like, oh man.
I
So I
mean,
just tried to.
especially
I took the night changes. So when the baby would wake up in the middle of the night for a diaper, that was me. I would get up, I would do that. I was like, all right, I got all diapers. She handled all feeding. So she handled the input, I handled the output. That's basically how we.
nice, and then assets got balanced in the end.
Yeah, that was what was supposed to happen, and now it's all topsy turvy because sometimes I gotta feed him here, but for the most part, she keeps him well fed, which is good because he's huge now. He's like a big
Nice.
baby.
Yeah, we're
So
fattening her up a little bit, which I'm just enjoying. Just like, eat more, baby. Keep going.
what was the process of getting your book together, the Daddy Issues book? Because I was reading in your bio, and we've talked about before, like
One right here.
having daddy issues or whatever. What was the process of getting that whole thing together?
Yeah. So, you know, I've written 10 million jokes in my lifetime. I know that's an exaggeration, but the process basically came to like find all of the jokes that I've ever written. And that took a while. Luckily, I keep a decent amount of stuff digitized with like Evernote and whatnot, but just like just scrolling through everything and then seeing, is this a good joke? Is this a good written joke? And then taking that, putting it into like another form. So that was like phase one was sort of like discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I finished that phase, it started like come down to like, all right, what's our like narrative flow? What's our organization? Because although the jokes are, mainly one-liners, puns, things of that nature, wordplay, I did try to make it have like a flow that made sense. So we're like staying on a similar topic, or we're going somewhere where you're not like, why did he go from A to Z?
Mm-hmm.
So just spending some time getting it phase two organized. And then phase three was really about like, getting it into the program. I don't know if you've written anything, but I used something called Scrivener. So there was like a little bit of a learning curve, but the fact that my stuff was like kind of straightforward, I got to skip some of the more difficult pieces. So that was like kind of phase three, formatting and figuring all that out. And it would be crazy because, I didn't really know what I was doing. So it's like if I would move something here, sometimes it would like shift onto a different page. And for the jokes, you want there to be a certain cadence. You don't want to, read half of a joke and then the punchline's on the next page. What if your fingers get stuck and you're like, oh, that took too long? It's not that funny anymore.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time kind of just like in each part, just like really trying to be methodical about it. And it wasn't every single joke I've written. And I tried to pick either the ones that, appealed to me the most or fit whatever weird narrative was in my head. And, I did cut a decent amount, but the final product, kind of going into the design phase, I got someone to use. I'm sure you've seen like this guy of me before on my stuff. So I got someone to use that logo and just make the design and do the artwork. And we'll zoom that in there.
Nice.
And yeah, at the end of the day, I self-published it on Amazon and got like a little bit of buzz from it and had some friends, get it right away. And yeah, it was just like it was a fun, exciting thing because, it was the pandemic. I told myself I was always going to do something like this. I finally had the time to just like knock it out and get it done. And now I can call myself an author and feel cool about myself, Glenn. And that's the most important thing,
I know. I saw it, and I'm like looking at it like during the pandemic, and I'm like, wow, that's those are a lot. How as comedians we just look at it like, damn, that's a lot of credits from that one endeavor. It's like I need to also write a book. There's like, so I have kind of similar to what you have is in terms of a lot of information that has not been organized in a way, because I have like kind of a thing that I've been writing. It's just like sayings that I have and just thoughts and kind of inspirational stuff that I have that it's in a note called Deep Thoughts.
Nice.
So, but it's like kind of the same thing. So it's kind of interesting to hear the process of putting that together. Was any of it
if
like?
you ever have any questions on publishing or putting it together, I'm happy to tell you about the mistakes I made, even though it wasn't that bad. At the end of the day, everything kind of worked out.
Yeah, I would fucking, that would be kind of dope. I will see. I'm trying not to curse here, and then my happiness came through in such a casual way that I curse. So maybe I need to bleep that out. But yeah, I will definitely have to holler at you about it. When you started out the process, was any part of the process thinking that you wanted to leave a legacy for the little one, or was it more kind of thinking about things that you were trying to work through to get it out?
Yeah, it was mainly the first part. I was just like, yeah, I know I've got these dad jokes, and the title Daddy Issue is like supposed to be a play on words of like it being like sort of like a magazine, and a magazine is an issue. So it's like daddy issues, and like that's a part of it. And then, the whole like, fatherless comedian. My dad died when I was like 11 months old. So, just kind of letting everybody know what I'm about, but I still got these dad jokes, and some of them are like really great. And, part of the reason I did it. So I got a few more reasons, Glenn. Now we're like, I talked about this a lot, like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm remembering things. So one of the things was during the pandemic, bookstores. I lived near like one. I would wander in and go to the comedy section. And I was just like, there are no joke books, and the only joke books that exist in this Barnes and Noble bookstore is like funny jokes from the internet that everybody has said. So I thought like, this is like it's a thing that now maybe there are a few more of them, but I thought it was like a thing that didn't exist. And I was like, this book could go on this bookshelf if people are looking for it, you know. They still haven't called me back, but that was one part. And then the other main element, Glenn, is like, I know you're gonna feel this way. You know, when we do comedy, we're not doing an hour every night. We can,
Right.
it's very rare that we can give our entire selves to the people. So it's like either I'm gonna come across this way, which is like, oh, he's like super edgy, or oh, he's super corny, or like whatever. And it's very rare that I can just give everything. So that was another part of the book. Because like on the back here, I have written that it's like provocative, edgy, corny, genius, stupid, and that's like how I describe my comedy, man. So
wait, is it is it weird that when you said edgy, I thought you were explaining yourself and your comedy, and then you said corny, and I just felt like, oh, he's explaining me now, like one for you, one for me, one for you, one for you.
Yeah,
but yeah. Okay, maybe that's just me being self-conscious. I should.
I mean, we all got to be a little corny from time to time, you know. Speaking of, here, let me do one I was thinking. I like how this is called the Blerd Dad Podcast, but I think to help up the ante, I think I need the view to be a little bit more like this, because it's blurred. That was
okay. That was. I don't know if that was a dad joke. I think that goes in a different book.
Okay, fair enough. But your beat in the beginning of your intro got me really hyped. So if I can have that beat, let me know.
Oh, you want me to give it to you, or do you want me to like play it right now so that you can rap over it?
Oh, no. Well, maybe that later. So you were talking about the rap stuff, which got me really excited because I am actually doing a musical comedy show, and I will be reciting a rap. And that's happening next week.
Listen, here's the deal: we can 100% play the intro song so that you could rap over it right now.
Do we want to do it right now? If it's really bad, everyone needs to turn off their camera. But sure, listen, why not? So don't play it. Okay, so basically, let me give you the intro. You play the beat, and I'll see how long I can go with the verse I wrote last weekend.
Oh wow. Okay, hold on. All right. See, look, we're on the spot now. This is the first in the Blerd Dad podcast. I'm gonna try to make this thing happen because I like that song, and there's no other time that I get to play it all the way out. You know what I mean? So I think this will be kind of.
I might not be able to match it up well, so I'll commit to a single verse, and then we'll say, "Oh, that was amazing," or "Oh, you should stick to SoundCloud." You know.
All right, hold on real quick. I think we can make something happen here. Let's see if we can. All right, I'm gonna play this thing. Hold on, wait. Tell me if you can hear this. All right, hold on. Share, and then I'm gonna share. All right, you ready?
I mean, I'm not ready, but I'm ready to hear it and then see if it plays.
Hold on. Let's see. Share a tab or screen, entire screen. There we go. Boom. All right. Put that over there. All right. Here we go. This is going to rock your socks off. You ready?
So let me do my intro real quick. So my favorite part, I think, about being a musician is getting to introduce your songs. So I wrote this rap while my wife was out of town. It was Saturday morning, and I had a little time to myself. Hit it, DJ. All right, I just need a second to get it. Well, wife and baby girl left me. I can't hear both at the same time, can I?
Oh, wait, when you're talking, you can't hear the beat?
Yeah. I could, yeah, we could. Let's try it one more time. Let's run it back.
Okay, run it back. Dude. See, you're hearing. This is a live studio session. This is what happens in the studio.
I gotta turn up the volume. Is what I gotta do.
Okay, yeah. There you turn me up in my headphones.
Turn me up.
Turn me up. This is how they do it on when this is how Kanye and Jay-Z. This is their process. As a matter of fact, you kind of look like Rick Rubin. So this is kind of like Rick Rubin and Jay-Z right now. All right, here we go. What's the intro again? Let's do it one more time.
All right.
Are you going? Are you saying the intro, or am I just playing it?
So, I wrote a rap while my wife was out of town. It was a Saturday morning. Had a little time to myself.
All right, here I'm producing now. Here's what I'm just gonna say. You got to just tell me, hit the beat, DJ, and then I'll hit the beat. How about that?
All right, hit the beat, DJ. I'll try to go it on one. My wife and baby girl left me for the day. My own world. What should I do? Cry that weed, smoke that green. I'm finally freed. Time to clean. Where should I start? Turn on my PS5, let out a fart. All right, that's all I got right now.
I'm gonna cut it there.
I couldn't get the rhythm going.
That's a hard beat. Hold on. You know what? I'm talking trash. Maybe I should try it. Should I try it? Should the Blerd Dad try to flow? All right, here we go. Stephanie, you tell me, should I try to flow? The producer, should I try to flow here? Is this what we
should give it a shot? Because then you can, look better than me, and then everyone be like, "Oh, Glenn should be the hip hop improviser, not Allan."
Listen, the producer said go for it, so here we go. I'm gonna be I'll be the hip hop improviser right now. Let's do.
In my defense, I could not hear the beat at all. Just
want okay. That you have been defended. Now I'm gonna come through and be what's the opposite of a defender? An avenger? I
already tuned you out. Too tired of the Avengers, Glenn. But we'll get to that later.
See, this is the first part, Allan. You know what I'm saying? When you get the beat, you got to talk through it. You know what I mean? You got to talk so you can get on beat. You know what I mean? That's the first part. And when you figure that out, then you get it. I already went past the bars that I should have, but I'm just going to get on track, right? All right, here we go. This is it. Blerd Dad back up in the building. I'm doing this thing for my children. It's fulfilling. I'm trying to tell you how to do it. I don't even know if I'm going to stick true to it, but I'm going to come through and I'm going to blow it up. Blerd Dad on the spike, on the mic, showing up every day for my child. I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to do it like this. I'm not truant. That means I'm not late. I'm on time with the beat. I'm on rhyme with the beat. I had to get the child when I ski. That means I came in it. This is getting a little dirty, but there ain't no shame in it. I'm out here trying to get it together. I'm over here rapping to my intro. No one could do it better. Not even Allan Sidley. He's a hip-hop improviser, but he can't catch the beat. Hold on, I'm gonna throw it back to him. Maybe he just needed me to do it for him, but I'm gonna see what he's gonna do in this forum. Throw it back to Sidley. Don't bore him.
Yo, I'm still waiting to hear the beat. Earlier today, I had a sandwich with some meat from this place called Isabella's. I was like, yo, ciao Bella, because the girl was pretty and she was fine. But then after that, I was like, yo, it's time to dine. Put it in my mouth, a little too salty. Went back, I was like, yo, this is your faulty. I'm just joking. I would never complain, because I ain't a Karen. That's just not the way I'm playing. So instead, I just tip as regular. And then I leave a hat in my feather.
Yo, he had a feather in the hat. I'ma do it like he did it, but I'ma run it back. I'ma do it reverse. I'ma get onto it. I don't rehearse. I come through freestyling every verse. I'm on this doing it the best, not the worst. The beat cut off, but I came back driving a hearse. That means I killed it. I don't know what you're talking about because I'm so appealing. I hope that you can feel it. I'm getting back into my little grind, how I used to do it in high school all the time. I don't even know what I'm doing, but it's sublime. Everybody thinking about me got the time to talk about it today. I'm going to do it. Hey, I like to do everything I like to do and say. Okay, it kind of got weird right at the end, but this is how we do it on the Blerd Dad Podcast. We don't pretend. I could have ended it better, but there we go. That's it. Those were bars from the Blerd Dad Podcast for this week. This is the first time ever we've ever done that. That's I don't know. That's the first.
Screen, seeing your weird tabs.
Luckily, I keep everything pretty, professional here.
No, you can't. You don't want to alt tab and get canceled.
Yeah,
that'd be the dumbest way.
Yeah, I don't know.
We should do that in person sometime where I can hear the music and have a good time.
Hey, listen, could you hear any of it? You could hear it a little bit or just a lot?
No, it wasn't as loud as when it was like the intro.
Okay. You know, I turned it down though so people could hear your voice.
Okay.
Because if it's as loud as it is in the intro, then you don't hear.
I would have been screaming though. I'd have been doing some hood rap, white hood rapping.
Yeah, people need to comment. They need to say, "Hey, Glenn, you got a little bars there." See, I haven't rapped in a long time, but you could I could get in the pocket every now and then.
Yeah, you had good flow, man. You had good flow. If anything, I was garbage, and that's okay.
Look, but you're an author. You know what I mean? You're an author. You've done a lot of touring and whatnot. You know what's interesting? People don't know this, but you are definitely a prominent figure in my comedy career. I think I told you this because you gave me a lot of opportunities to host things when I was first starting out. And a lot of those gigs gave me confidence in doing other gigs because it was just like, if this person is like, hey, host my show that I'm trying to get and grow, I'm like, all right, well, that means I'm doing something right. So I got to give you a shout out for that. What did you see in me, Allan? I guess that's the question.
I think I saw just like, eagerness is just a huge part of it, and excitement, so it's just like hosting, you just have to like hosting, and not everybody does it. There's too many people, and like for myself, I only like it like such a smaller portion of the time than I used to. Used to be younger, Glenn, used to have more energy, and it's just like I don't want to, that's just not my forte. So I'm always looking for people who just like are really excited and funny people, and just people that look like they're gonna have a good time regardless of how it goes.
Yeah.
That's like huge.
Right.
There's so many shows that you and I and everyone have been on where the host kind of just kills it from the start. Not kills it and does a good job, but is just like, oh, okay, well, you guys suck. Yeah, you guys aren't laughing at anything. That's okay. I'm great, but you guys aren't. Next comedian coming to the stage. And you're just like, nice. I'm glad we got the crowd real. And then if they set the tone that way, then that gives permission for every comedian just to come up there and then just start shitting on the audience as well. And then that's the show. It's now, instead of telling jokes or doing crowd work, it's let's poop on the audience.
Right. Who are the ones who give us a platform to be there, So I've always looked at it like, when you come out, and first of all, here's the thing. When you're doing comedy, there is something that you're supposed to do in every slot. You know what I mean? Like if you're hosting, there's a certain thing you're supposed to do when you're hosting. If you're featuring, there's a certain thing. If you're headlining, there's a certain thing. So when you're hosting, I feel like you should make it so that the show is fun, regardless of how funny the comedians are, because like everyone can have an off night. There could be comedians who aren't funny. And I've seen comedians who are great in some venues, like totally not be funny in another one. And so sometimes it's just not their night, or it's just not the crowd for them, or just there's a variety of reasons why the person could be funny, but that doesn't mean the show has to suck. Like I've hosted shows where there were like no funny comedians on them, but the crowd still had a good time with just the atmosphere that you set for them, because it's like, hey, we're at this comedy show, and let's see if people are funny. And then it's funny when they're not, because it's like, okay, that wasn't funny, but hey, we're still here trying to find funny in the midst of all this unfunny stuff. And then like people still leave the show like, oh man, that was great, and in your mind you're thinking all of those comedians did not do well. Yeah, exactly. It's like that show sucked, but the audience had fun, and I think that's the mark of a successful show. And I will always say that if a show does really well, a lot of times the hosts set it up for that to happen. It's but if you have like a super true blue headliner, they can make any show like turn around any show. But when sometimes you have mediocre shows, and a good host can make it seem like it was an all-star experience, where people aren't asking for their money back.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's good, dude. I now you've got me wanting to like rap a little bit more. Maybe that's what I should put out. I should put out a You know what they don't have? They don't have Christmas rap albums. I feel like that is something that that's a market that's untapped.
Rap. WRAP.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that's what we should look at. Maybe we should do a duo.
Yeah. As long as we get a couple Hanukkah songs on there for me and my people, we can make it happen.
Time to bring your harmonica. We gonna talk about Hanukkah.
Yeah.
I think harmonica and Hanukkah are the only two words that rhyme together.
Harmonica. No, you could always just do Monica.
Monica. Okay. Well, that is
okay. All right. I'm gonna find the dumbest rap I wrote down one time. It's the shortest thing, but this is you. Oh, is that not it?
You know what I think is awesome? I feel like you have, now that you've done your book, like all of the things that you've said or written are kind of at your fingertips. Yeah. It's like,
can't find the note. But it was something like, what was it like?
Did it have to do with Christmas?
It had to do with Monica and harmonica.
And
then I think I tied it into like Friends, the TV show.
Oh, interesting. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry.
Super, super short, but I don't know why I can't find. I don't know. Something was like Monica blowing me like a harmonica, just super stupid stuff. And then
listen, I've had.
I know I said something like Chandler Bingo was his name-o at some point, but I'm really upset because I should have every note that I've ever typed in this program, and I don't see it. So
yeah. I feel like the search function is getting a little bit hairy now with when you have so much information, it's harder to search for things. I have tons of jokes that I'm like, I know I wrote something about this, but like just the search algorithm cannot find it I got to print it out to go through it. When you were doing your book, did you print out things to like go through them, or did you look at everything on screen?
Everything on screen, man.
Dude.
Because I don't think I could print it on the like. Oh, you mean just like in terms of finding my notes and then printing those notes?
Yeah, because it's like if you have it in physical, it's easier to be like, okay, on page 100 and whatever, I can go back to that thing. Whereas if it's digital and you're like scrolling up, it's like you could be scrolling forever and never find the thing that, especially when it gets to things that you've done years ago. Because now we're multiple years in, approaching like a decade almost in comedy, and you think about everything that you've written within a decade. And if you're trying to find that on a digital file, it could be like, like way, way back. I do this thing. It's called a set roulette. Like, cause I write down everything, like every set, I'll do the date and then the name of the jokes that I do before I go on stage. And then I'll go to that note sometimes and I'll do set roulette and I'll just like spin it a bunch of times and then like land on a set that I did way back and try to pick one of the jokes from that set way back then. Nice. And try to remember. This is kind of a fun little thing. I don't know.
Oh, definitely. No, that's like, so, okay. So you're saying that. So a show I want to do, Glenn, and maybe this is something we can partner on at some point. The problem is we kind of already have to have like an audience or people have to be super hyped for it. But I would love to do a show where there's like a projector and we literally play like stand up from like year one. And then either the host roasts us or we roast ourselves and then do jokes in the current state. And I know that's something that sounds super exciting to me, you, and other comedians. I don't know if regular folks will be like that excited.
You know what it is? It's all in the name. So whatever name you give it, if that grabs people's attention, people will come out to see the show. And then once the show does well a couple of times, then all of a sudden people are like, ooh, I really like that thing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, man. I've been putting on less shows these days. Promoting's just been like, it's just different. It's harder. There's too much stuff going on. So I'm a little hesitant, but we'll see. Inspiration will come in the new year. Maybe I'll get it done.
I'm telling you, let's figure out a name. What would you call it? It's Look at Me Now, maybe, or something like that, or like Then and Now.
Then they didn't want me.
Like that. I think that's where it is. It's like
they all want me.
If we find a hot name for it, I think that is
Mike Jones comedy show.
The Mike Jones. That's a little abstract.
No, that's not the name we're choosing.
Reaching Back. No, that's dumb. The name of this episode should just be freestyling and brainstorming.
Pretty much. Yeah. I think I did have like a name for it at some point, but yeah, I don't know. Roast yourself, roast your former self, time machine. No, these aren't.
Oh,
good.
you know what? I got it. Perfect. What was I thinking?
Ooh, okay. I'm actually gonna write that one down.
Yeah, write that one down.
Today, I came
if
up
you do it, don't forget me. I
What
gotta.
was I thinking all on my own? Writing it in my journal right now.
No one else had that idea. What was Yeah, I think what was I thinking? The comedy show. I think people would, and then the thing about it is, you get like a good little promo thing, and you put that out there, and once people get it word of mouth, I think people will have fun, especially when there's audience in it. Because I think now with all the crowd work specials, audiences want to be interacted with, and anything that is bringing people so that they could interact, I feel like we'll have a leg up on just a regular show. So
I can't wait for this phase to die, Glenn.
the whole I see. Here's the thing. I like people,
Oh, I know you do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like people interrupting. I don't mind people interrupting. I like interacting back and forth, which helps me in Fatherhood because this kid heckles the best out of anyone I've ever met.
Oh, I bet.
he's got great comedic timing, like I'll tell him something, he'll be like, what? Which is just it's just the funny how he does it. And then the thing is, he has that comedian's thing where, if we get a funny, like if we get a laugh, then it's like, oh, I got him now. And then you got to like tag it up. And so he does that. If he gets a laugh, he's like, oh, okay. You like that one, huh? All right. Here's a little, what? And he'll do it again. He's got great comedic timing. I think I'm creating a monster here. Look, on the Blerd Dad podcast, we love to ask the blurting question all the time. And I don't know if you prepared for it, but I hope you did. What do you like to nerd out about? Like if I said, Allan Sidley, what do you like to nerd out about? What would be your answer? What do you nerd out about the most?
Man, I've just been playing like video games and board games forever. So
really?
just like that kind of stuff, I got heavy into gaming in like middle school. Thought I was gonna go pro playing Counter-Strike. I wasn't that good, but I was like pretty good. I put in a lot of hours back in that day.
Oh yeah.
But now I'm doing the console gaming, so I got the PS5, and I should probably be playing some better games. But
where you talk shit good, like good enough to where you could talk trash and like back it up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'd be like, what was it, middle school? I'd be like, you suck,
Look, here's my favorite trash talk was in playing a first person shooter. You could do it with Counter-Strike, or you could do it with Halo.
And then I got Halo in high school.
But I used to like I used to like follow people around or whatever, and when they would go for like power-ups, I would let them get the power-up, and then I would like shoot them and kill them, and they'd be like, was it worth it? That was like my favorite thing to do, and I'd just run around the whole map, be like, was it worth it? Was it worth it? People get so angry. It's like I don't know, it's my favorite troll. Was it worth it?
For me, I probably wasn't like a first strike shit talker, but it's like, let's say they killed me and then they teabagged me. I'm teabagging them every single time I kill them for like 10 minutes straight. That's just like the retaliation is going to be 10 times as strong. So
what sucks though? It's like if you teabag them 10 times more, it's just too bad there's not like a physical translation of that. Like if you get teabag 10 times, then someone gets to physically come to your house and teabag you to be like, you really got teabagged.
Yeah. Oh, and then also, even though I don't really like endorse Call of Duty because I'm not playing it these days, but what they did great is when you killed somebody, you could hear them complain in like the headset in public,
for like 5 seconds.
For like a second, yeah, you kill them and be like, fuck, damn it. And he'd be like, yeah. Ruined your day.
I think since I stopped cursing on the podcast, this has been the most cursing that we've had.
Yeah, well,
I'm glad you could bring it out of me.
Yeah, man. And then between that and then just play some like, about mildly complicated board games from time to time.
What, like Candyland or?
Yeah, Candyland, adult version, Life. No, stuff like, so like I think Settlers of Catan is like the popular one that's pretty kind of standard these days. But I did stuff.
You have to dress up for that one?
No.
Oh, for some reason I thought you had to dress up for Settlers of Catan. Every time I've talked to somebody about it, they seemed like a cosplay type.
I mean, maybe just not in the groups, but it's just been like a way that I've stayed in touch with friends over the years, both gaming and board gaming. Grew up doing it, still like it, never gonna stop. So,
What's the deal with Settlers of Catan? How does that work? What is
you like? So it's an in-person board game, but they also have online versions, and basically you're just trying to build like settlements, and you have some spots on the board that are like you kind of get them assigned in the beginning, sort of based off of dice roll. And then you roll dice to see what resources generate each turn. And then each thing that you build requires resources. And so rolling the dice, there'll be areas on the map that are like the 8 or the 7 or the 12 or the 1. So obviously, if you're in an area that is in a more likely to roll spot, that resource is going to get generated more often, and you're able to like build more stuff. And it's just like a first person to 10 points wins situation. So it's like you get a point every time you like build a new house, and then if you have the longest road, you get a couple points. If you have the biggest army, you have a couple points. And it's nice because it's like pretty short, and like even my wife and mom can play it. I'd have to remind them how to play, but it's not like the decision making. I think that's the hardest part with like a lot of the board games, is like even for myself. So growing up, when I played, I was like playing with these people who were just like actual geniuses, and it's just like you're always trying to figure out what should I be doing, what's the move. And I feel like in that game in particular, it's a little easier to figure out, which is nice. It's not like it's not boundless on what you can do.
Yeah, but isn't there a thing where like you could get contaminated water or something, like you could contaminate your water supply on accident?
That sounds more like Oregon Trail.
Okay.
You remember Oregon Trail?
I did, on the computer, where everyone got dysentery at some point.
Exactly. No, I mean, it's possible. They have like a ton of expansions, so I'm sure but that could be a different game.
Interesting.
And then I played like some Gloomhaven for a little bit with some friends, and that's basically just like Dungeons and Dragons Light, where like you're not really having to use your imagination as much.
You see, I played Dungeons and Dragons. I love the imagination thing.
I mean, I do too. It was just somebody bought this game and we played.
Did you play Dungeons and Dragons as well?
No, but I like the concept and I would love to play it someday.
Oh, really? Dude, my work friends, not work friends, work people, they were no longer friends they were playing D&D, and I was like, oh, cool. I think I brought it up. I was like, we should get a D&D thing together. And then they all like organized it, and then they asked me not to play. I was like, what?
Damn.
But it's fun.
I think you played once, or not even get the
No, not even. No. But I think it's because, I don't really have them on my Facebook like that. So it's just like, so maybe they were like getting me back.
I mean, yeah, if they've been doing something for so long, they're not going to add new blood unless it's a chick.
No, they literally started it because I brought it up, and then it's kind of a whack, but hey, whatever.
I feel like that is, I just want to make a disclaimer. I kind of feel like that is going against the ethos of Dungeons and Dragons.
So do I. So do I. So
I think those people can go to hell.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the support there, dude. Yeah. We've always been supporting each other. We've been, longtime friends, I guess, as long as you can be friends with somebody. Yeah. I don't know we've been friends for a while is what I was trying to say. Sometimes after I have a really good set or like some really good bars like I just had, sometimes I get flustered after that. Like, oh, I don't even know where to go with this next. Yeah. But we've been
feeling it a little too. So I get it.
We've been friends for a minute, man. I'm glad that we had the kids together. We got to get together, do like a play date or something, That's your next step, because she's like young now. She's going to get into the 2 kind of 3-year-old where you got to send them on to like playgrounds, and playground play is totally that's a whole. Have you been to a playground yet?
I've not,
dude. It's new. These kids are ruthless, man. They're out there. And the thing is, with the playgrounds, it's like it's all ages of kids. So you get kids that are your child's age, like 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And then there's the 10 and 11-year-olds, and they're just jumping around, swinging off monkey bars. And it's like they have very little control over their body, and they don't care about anyone else. So it's like, I could just see broken bones or something like that. I'm just, oh my
man.
goodness, it's
Yeah.
like a
You gotta
war zone out
be
here.
the lifeguard. You come in with the sunscreen on your nose. Quit running.
Speaking of which, I meant to talk to you about this too. Is I love your social media about the referee, the social media referee, which I think is a great concept. I feel like that needs to take off more.
Yeah, thanks, man. I kind of go back and forth with it over time. It was actually like my first thing that went like sort of viral on TikTok. So I was like, I have to do this all the time, and then I should be taking it other places besides football. So I need to do that.
Mm. Yeah, you know what? You do everything. Relationships, comedy. I feel like, just whatever. You know what?
I actually got really excited. I was supposed to do a Halloween show this year, and I was going to dress up as a ref and do and I had 10 minutes of like great jokes. Like it was going to be awesome. And then
rough bits.
Nobody bought tickets for the show, so it got canceled.
Oh, well, that sucks. Yeah, okay. You know what you should do on TikTok or your next one? You should review the clip of us rapping and then throw flags on that and ref that one like.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's actually like a pretty good idea.
He's like offbeat. That's a 15-yard penalty.
I like it.
Bring it back to the beginning of the verse. Anyway, man, tell the people what you got coming up next, where they can find you, what's happening with the book. Tell them about your life. What do you got to plug?
Yeah, so if you want to find most of my stuff, my website is sidleystandup.com. And then I'm posting stuff on TikTok and Instagram pretty often. So I'm on Sidley Stand Up on Instagram and then Allan Sidley on TikTok. Oh yeah. And just trying to create content that I enjoy making and hopefully other people will enjoy watching, including some stand-up clips here and there. But I don't think that's what the people want, Glenn.
You don't think so?
I think they want it to a degree, but the enjoyment I get posting a stand-up clip versus performing live is just so different,
For sure. And I think the enjoyment of consuming live versus online is different, but I feel like everything's so saturated. There's tons of clips. So you got like super famous comedians who are putting out like clips in the same format that we would as people who are not super famous, and it's like how to get yours to stand out against theirs. It's it's a difficult thing because we're all kind of thrown in the same pit, even though they have a massive more amount of followers than us, and we're trying to catch up. So it's like it's very difficult, and trying to figure it out. Sometimes I'm like, am I selling my soul to try to get figure this algorithm out? But I got to remember, I'm trying to share joy with the world, and if I just do that, I think they will be happy with the content, and then thus get more followers and whatnot. So got to keep my eye on the prize, keep the people happy.
Yeah, and that's always what I ask myself before I post something. Is I'm like, did I like this? Did I like the idea? Did I like the execution? Okay, I'm good with it. And then when people don't like it, I go, oh, those motherfuckers. But then it's cool. It's whatever. Shake it off. There's a new one tomorrow.
That's true. And the thing is, it's all out there, and then you'll do something, and then people will search the other stuff, and then it's like, oh, this was great. And then next thing it's like no one knows how it works except for I guess Mr. Beast. Exactly. But if I figure it out, I'll let you know, and we'll have to rap about the book thing, because this is something that I really was looking at doing, and I have, like you said, there's so much stuff that I got to figure out a way to collate it all and organize it all to make that happen. That's actually been something that's been on the tip of my not tongue but my fingertips. There we go. See, this is why we get to get, it's like Stockton and Malone. Only you're more of the body stature of Malone, and I'm more of the body stature of Stockton. Anyway, hey, this has been super fun. Listen, we ran the gamut of things to talk about. We talked about raising our kids. We talked about books, a little bit about self-publishing, a bit about board games and whatnot, and we even rapped a little bit. So with all that said, I don't think there's anything left for us to say except for blerd that out.